Hello. What's good,
Hello?
92nd Street? Why? Oh my goodness. Okay, wait a second though. Some housekeeping from me. There's some empty chairs down there, and if you feel like you need a better view, you can move.
Yes, come, please.
Seriously,
Yeah,
I feel
fill it
very
up.
lonely. Come join me.
I know.
I'm not mad at you.
There's people out there. Oh my gosh.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight to celebrate our girl, Jenny Anderson, and her miraculous book, that is The In-Between. I have known Jenny for, feels like a long time.
It's Ariana, look.
Oh my God.
What a babe.
We're only clapping
It's
for
me.
you tonight.
Okay.
I moved when I was 19, and you were already here doing the thing, babe. But I remember saying to myself, wherever that girl goes, I'm gonna follow, because she's really smart, and the heart in everything that you do, it just flows through your art.
Thank you. Ditto, sister. I'll follow you wherever you go.
Thank you.
If you'll have me.
Sisterhood is real,
And I
y'all.
have.
And when you find them, keep them. So let's start off by talking about your source of inspiration. So how old were you when you first discovered you had a love of photography?
I probably picked up a camera when I was in about 7th and 8th grade. How old are you in that time?
15?
13, 14?
14? In the teens.
It's been a long time since I was 12. Oh my gosh.
12?
My dad is an artist and an art teacher, and he would give me these photography books from these women from the Depression era, like Margaret Bourke-White and Dorothea Lange, and it was such a view into this world that was sort of around me. Obviously, I didn't live in the Depression era, but I lived in Mississippi and rural life, and my granddaddy was a farmer, and my Mimi was always in the garden, and my family just lived like that. So those photographs felt like home to me, and they were female photographers, so that was always so cool to me. And so my granddaddy actually bought me my first camera, which is
Wait,
cool.
what kind of a camera was it?
It was actually a Canon Rebel, a film camera. Now I shoot with Nikon, but it doesn't matter. I'm not a gearhead at all. But he bought me that camera just because I wanted one, and I loved photography, and I just wanted to start as a hobby, and that's what it was. It was very much a hobby. It was a hobby through high school. It was even a hobby in most of college. But I mainly took photos of the things around me, my little brothers, my Mimi, my granddaddy, my parents, like they were my subjects. And then when I got to college, I was gonna be a doctor. I don't know if you know that.
Wait, we could have had Dr. Anderson.
I know. I really wanted to be a pediatrician because I just love children, but I quickly discovered that I wanted to be a TV doctor, not a real doctor.
Too many episodes of Grey's Anatomy.
Exactly. Like ER, anybody? George Clooney, hello?
Okay, see you, ER.
I'm old. So I wanted this romanticized version of what a doctor was, but I think what I wanted was the human connection that you see in TV doctors, like how they connect with people, and photography became that for me. And then the theater part of it comes from my mom. She was a theater teacher. I grew up in her always being in regional shows. I auditioned for quite a lot of those shows and didn't get them. It wasn't really, it definitely was a lack of some talent. I had a little bit, but the confidence was not there. I was like, I cannot, the fact that I'm on a stage right now with a microphone in my hand
I was going to say, this is a big deal
psychotic.
for our queen
It's
Jenny.
a very big deal.
And you're doing great, sweetie.
It really helps, thank you. It really helps that I can only see like 4 people, so it's like, so yeah, I sort of married their 2 worlds, and because I loved them so much, and it wasn't till college that I was like, I think I'm good at this. Like maybe I'm definitely good at the connection part, and I'm good at the composition part, and the gear and the actual photography part kind of came later, but yeah.
So I love that you talk about confidence. Like perhaps the theater wasn't the thing that infused you with confidence, but you found your confident voice through photography. So then what brought you to New York? Because, let's be real, choosing to come to this city takes a lot of confidence if you're going to be an artist. Yeah. Am I right?
I oddly, New York was the idea first, before photography, before theater. I think it has a lot to do with the TV show Friends. I can't help it. I was this little girl in Mississippi, and my window into New York life was Friends. And that's at least who my dad blames. But New York was always, since I was like a little kid, I was like, I want to live in New York. I never had been here. I didn't know anything about it in any other way than what I saw on TV and film. And so New York was first, and then when photography came and theater came, I was like, well, that's where I have to go. Even though I am a fairly practical person, so it wasn't like drop everything, move to New York. I had to have a reason to get here. I had to have some stability if I was gonna do it, because again, I've teacher parents and a humble growing up, so if I was gonna do it, I had to do it myself. So I got a job at Circle Line Cruises.
I literally was like, what was the job? Yeah. Circle Line Cruises.
Call them out. They hired me over the phone. They were like, I don't know why. Look, mind you, I had a degree in journalism from University of Mississippi, and Ole Miss, hotty toddy. Yes. So gave my resume to a million different people, like in every major city possible, because I did feel like I needed to get out of the South, but everywhere, LA, Atlanta, Nashville, anywhere, and the only job that hired me on the phone was Circle Line. They were like, if you can get here in 2 weeks, the job's yours. I was like, great.
Great, I'll take it.
Sold my car, bought a one-way ticket, packed 2 suitcases, like legit. Like
I love that
$2, one bag, baby. That plane ticket was $94. I'll never forget.
Come on.
Right?
That's a bargain. But I love that, because you said you bought a one-way ticket.
One way.
So again, I'm hearing a lot of confidence, massive leap of faith, and like a willingness to like choose to say, I'm gonna go for this.
I've had a few people ask me this recently, because I'm trying to think what made me. I mean, I obviously knew I had some talent, but I wasn't super confident in saying that out loud. I even struggle doing it now, and I have a book in my hand. You know what I mean? But I just knew. I was like, I got to go to New York. That's where I belong. Yeah. I got to get there, and whatever gets me there, I'll go. And I did it, and I literally had $750 in my bank account. I'll never forget that, because first month's rent was $700.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna quickly get a job. I did live with a friend for a couple of weeks while I tried it, because I didn't come here with an apartment. I didn't have anywhere to live. What a psycho. I can't believe I did that.
You're not the only one.
I really did have confidence, apparently.
Baby, I quit college, got on a plane with a one-way ticket, with a big old busted blue suitcase. I lived on a friend's couch for about a month and a half.
I think that was the time when you could still do that. I don't even know if you could do that anymore, but that was it. That was the dream. It was New York or bust. You just had to do it. And I had a lot of friends from college that were going to do the same thing, but I was kind of one of the early ones to do it. Mm-hmm. My best friend Brittany was already here. She had lived here for like a month. And I was like, great, coming to sleep in your bed with you for a couple of weeks. She lived in this teeny tiny little upper west side, all the way on the river apartment, and it was her and her best friend, and we just did it for a couple of weeks, and then I still didn't have an apartment, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And one of my mom's college friends lived here, and he's like, I'm leaving for a week, you can cat sit. Mind you, not a cat fan.
Not a cat person. That's
sad. No offense to cat people, I love you. I am not a cat person. I was terrified of them as a kid. And I did it anyway, because I was like, I have to stay here. But that same week, that third week I was here, I found Broadway.com and a new apartment on Craigslist. Both of them were on Craigslist, and then
Go Craigslist. Thank you, Craigslist, for giving this queen opportunity. I'm into it.
I don't think I would find an apartment on Craigslist right now. Don't do that anymore. Don't do that.
Times have changed. Please be safe out there.
I saw some doozies, but I found one finally.
So, okay. Let's talk about the job itself. So once you started, right? Like, I'm so curious. You had an initial love of it, but like, tell me what you found the most challenging at the beginning, and what brought you the most joy in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. In the very beginning, I mean, I was 22 and I got a photo internship at Broadway.com. Like, that was literally all those words. Yes, that's exactly where I'm supposed to be. Like, I knew what Broadway.com already was because it was my only source of anything when I was in college. And so when I found that on Craigslist, I was like, this is it. This is my job. It belongs to me. No one else needs to get this. So I went in for that interview, and I literally had a book of photos printed out. Again, I don't know why, but I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And so when I got that job, I was like, oh, I have a platform. And it was scary because I was young and I didn't know anybody and no one knew me. And the fact that they gave this little 22-year-old girl literally off the plane from Mississippi this big job. I mean, I was an intern, but I was only an intern for 6 months. And then after 6 months, the photo editor quit. And they were like, well, you're here, so I guess you are now the photo editor. And I was like, oh, okay, amazing. So that was scary.
That's totally scary. But again, I'm hearing a lot of confidence and courage.
I know, again,
a willingness to do scary things.
I know, and I don't even think I was a super confident kid. I mean, I have young parents, and so I was kind of been an adult since I was born. So I think that has a big reason. That's a big reason why. And so I've always been super self-sufficient. I was the only child for 10 years. So I think that's where the confidence comes from, because I do know who I am as a person. Yes. Even if I didn't know what my talent as a photographer quite was, I kind of always known the type of person I am and wanted to be. So that's the joy too, is the community and the people. And when I was a kid and wanted to be involved in theater, and quickly discovered it wasn't going to be acting or singing or performing, I was like, I got to figure out how to stay in this world because I love these people. I want these people to be my people. Like, I am a theater nerd at heart, and so how do I get to be in their world if I'm not one of them? And so I think the joy is the community for sure.
I love that. Well, and we're not giving you back.
Great.
You are ours.
Great.
We love you so much. I'm sure you have like hundreds of stories. Let's talk about something fun.
Let's do it.
You have hundreds of stories because you've shot literally everyone. And I mean like photos. Literally.
I know, I say it all the time and I'm like, it's so bad, but that's how I say it. Like, sorry.
You've taken
I took
so
a
many
photo of that person.
Photos of so many people. What's one of your, just pick one, what comes to the top of your head, favorite stories about the
So I have a really cool Glenn Close story, which I feel like is apropos, since she is the cover.
Mother Glenn, she's a cover
Mother
star.
Glenn. Someone told me the other day that they gave it to her or showed it to her or something, and she was like, she liked it. I was like, great, good, because you signed off on it. So, I shot her obviously at Sunset Boulevard when she did the revival. Gosh, I think it's 7 or 8 years ago now. And this was in the old palace, because now they've renovated it and put it up on the sky, and it's not what the theater it used to be. So it used to have this old elevator in the sky. It's crazy. It's like on the 45th floor or something.
Levitating.
Anyway, they had these old elevators in that building, and that's how she would get to stage, because her dressing room was kind of further down. And I went in the dressing room with her, and she was so lovely, and I was in there for a few minutes and just getting into Norma. She was kind of almost there, but and after a few minutes, she was like, do you think you got it? And I was like, I do. And she's like, okay. So I left, and I was like, great. That was my moment with Glenn. We're done. And then I think her dresser or maybe the publicist came out and said, actually, Glenn wants you to wait right here and get her getting into the elevator. I was like, great. Love it. So I waited. She walked out with the glasses on, and she just walked past me, got in the elevator, took her glasses off, and then looked at me, and I was like, and then the elevator door closed, and I was like, I cannot believe that just happened. Like, how crazy. And then she left. She went and went upstairs and for her entrance, and I went all the way downstairs in the basement, taking photos of the other cast members, because I was there for the whole show. And then all of a sudden, I'm down in the basement, the bottom floor, and from up on the stage, I hear someone say, I've never told this story live, so hopefully she's okay with it. But I hear, she goes, photographer. Wait, I swear to God. And I didn't really hear it. And the publicist, Ryan, he goes, that's you. And I was like, oh, it is me. You're right, it's me. And so I ran up 6 flights of stairs because I wasn't gonna wait for the elevator. And I get up to the deck, and I see her hand just coming out of the wings of the darkness, and she was like, come with me. And I was like, yes, okay, whatever you say, Glenn. And I followed her, and there's another elevator on stage.
Another elevator.
There's a second elevator that takes her to her actual entrance, which is the top of this staircase when she walks in and for the first time. And she's like, I thought it would be good if you came with me and got my entrance. I was like, yes, I agree. That sounds amazing. Please direct this entire shoot. I am here for it. And so I get in this teeny tiny little elevator with her. She sits down in her glasses, and she's just sitting there, and me and Mackenzie, who was the stage manager, Mackenzie Murphy, and the three of us are in this elevator, and I'm just looking at her, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And I'm taking pictures of her, and then she gets out, and she makes her entrance. The light hits her. I take a picture from the behind, and then there she goes, and I'm
It's magic.
It was crazy.
It's magic.
I cannot believe that just happened. Yeah, it was nuts.
But you know what I think is really cool though? Because you're like, Glenn's just like directing this shoot. I was like, yeah, but Glenn wouldn't have done that if she wasn't comfortable.
Exactly.
And that's you.
Thank you.
That's the magic of Jenny. That's one of my favorite things about shooting. I'm sorry, this is not about me.
Yeah.
But nobody asked, but I'm going to tell you. I love shooting with you, like from the moment I met you, because you have this charm that is both disarming, but it also implies real care. Like you care about your subjects, especially in my last 4 years of living. I love
your magic last 4 years.
Thank you. But I've worked with a lot of different photographers for a lot of different reasons, and not everyone has the care that you do.
Thank you.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you so
much. We thank you. We honor you for that. I literally just said we honor you. I honor you for that.
I'll take it.
Okay. Let's talk about. Okay. Well, since I was talking about myself,
yeah.
Why don't you tell me about one of your favorite times photographing me?
Yeah. You know what? I actually do have. I have several. That's amazing. No, I love it. I have several because we've done a lot of studio shoots, and I've been on location with you. Obviously, the day you won your Oscar is like the most insane thing in the world. And I just remember you and I were in the bathroom. I don't know why we were at the Edition Hotel for some event for you, I think. But we were in the bathroom, and I was like, hey, so, something's going to happen tomorrow. Oscar nominations. I don't know if you're aware. And just like, yeah, I don't know what's happening tomorrow. I was like, if something exciting happens for you tomorrow, and before I even got the sentence out, she's like, oh, you're coming with me, whatever you want. And I was like, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was it. And so I got to shoot that insane day with you before and after, and it was incredible. But honestly, my favorite photo shoot with you, I used to shoot for Broadway Box a lot, and we used to do these pieces where we featured kind of like mostly making your Broadway debut, but also like maybe having your first leading role.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Having your first leading role. So we, for a whole the season of up-and-comers of that season, we would do a feature on them, and we'd try to find a cool way to do it. And Josh Ferry had this great idea to take the actors, these up-and-coming actors, and put them in scenes from movies, but take photos of them. So we did like When Harry Met Sally and Manhattan and just all these like iconic movies that had, and New York movies that had iconic scenes in them. And we did one with Ari and Bobby Conte, and the movie was West Side Story. And it was before she was in the movie, and it was before any of this had happened, and you were Maria in the photo.
I was dressed as Maria.
She was dressed as Maria
the one
in the
and
photo.
only time.
But we were like running down a street in Midtown Manhattan, and she's like leaping in the air. You know that photo from the original. And it's you and Bobby, and I just remember that day so clearly. I remember that photo. And then when you booked West Side Story, and then everything that happened after, I was like, what a magic connection that is that we did that photo.
I almost forgot about that. But
yeah.
that was...
I know.
That was a magic.
I know, because I remember watching in the movie, being like, we did photos, and now she's like sobbing. It was so cool. Anyway, a really full circle moment.
It was a full circle moment.
Different character, but same thing. Whatever.
It's the piece. The piece is what matters.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this here book.
Yeah.
Because I'm so daggone proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, we've talked about confidence, and there's like dashes of courage in there. Beautiful things. What made you decide to do this?
So I think it was always in the back of my head. My dad once gave me a book for Christmas. I had been in New York for a few years, and I had worked at Broadway.com for a while, so I'd started establishing myself in the community. And he gave me this book of Mississippi artists. It was called The Mississippians, and he wrote inside of it, "One day this will be you." And I was like, whoa, Dad. My dad is very sweet and sentimental. And I just have always thought about, maybe not a book, but a collection of work that was connected to each other and what that would be. And early on in my Broadway.com days, they gave me the platform to do backstage and behind the scenes. And they had clout, obviously, in the community. And so I was allowed to go into these spaces that I wouldn't have normally been allowed to do. And thankful to them. And also, I went to Paul, the editor, and was like, this is what I want to do. Please, can we figure this out? And the first photo I took backstage was Miss Laura Benanti at Gypsy. Again, it was early days. It was like 2008. She had just won the Tony. I was 23 years old. I'd never met her, and I was like, what am I doing here? But that started it, and I kept doing it. And then the second of that was I started doing rehearsal photos. I started getting into these spaces that other people weren't getting into. I mean, there have been other photographers before me, please. I didn't start this. Like Joan Marcus and Martha Swope and Rivka, these amazing women who have been doing this for a very long time, like paved that way for me. But having this new platform, this online platform to do it a lot. Like I was doing one once a week, it became a feature. And then a few years into it, I'm gonna keep bringing him up because he's just always in my brain and in my heart. But Gavin Creel was like, when are you gonna do a book, girl? And I was like, give me a minute. I've only been doing this for 5 years or 6 years or how blah, 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 on. And so, and then other people started saying the same thing. When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do this? And then a few years ago, I think it was 2019, my university, my mentor actually, Ellen, approached me about doing an exhibition in my hometown in the Performing Arts Center there. And they're like, we would love for you to put up a Broadway exhibition. And I was like, oh God, what is that? And I was like, oh, well, I know what it is. It's backstage, it's behind the scenes. And I had, for 6 years, did it with Broadway.com, but then when I left Broadway.com, I tried to do it as much as possible on my own. Like I would ask actors that were friends of mine if I was like, hey, can I come? And so I've been hoarding these photos for a little while. A lot of them have been seen in the world, but some haven't been. So I've just been kind of collecting them the last 18 years. And so the book was a natural next step after the exhibition. And thankfully, I got into the right hands with amazing agents and amazing editor and the rest, as they say. And there she is.
There she is.
Yeah.
Well, it's an absolutely glorious, glorious book. I'm so tremendously proud of you. And I did have the good fortune of writing the foreword for this book. And I agonized over it. But I did that because I adore the way you do your job, because it's your passion. And what I love so much about this book and the way that it's curated is every single one tells a story from top to bottom, and it jumps off of the page and also draws you in. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to have something that's representative of the Broadway community, the experience of what it is to do this work on stage, and to have a photo draw you into the emotions of what we feel. These pages show feelings that we don't often share on the stage, the ones that we hold for ourselves. And someone as special as Jenny Anderson gets in there and gets to capture them. So I hope that all of you will...
I love sitting here and having people say nice things about me. I'm so comfortable.
We'll get this book and share it with literally anyone and everyone who is a fan of all things theater. I have one more question for you before we jump to some audience questions, which I have in my hands. Where did that accent come from? What is happening?
I don't know.
I think you're so wise beyond your years. What advice would you have for aspiring photographers, whether they want to shoot Broadway stars or be on a red carpet or shoot portraits and editorials, what would you tell a young person?
I think we're in such a different place now than when I started. Now you can DM people, you can message them, you can get to a person easier than I feel like I could when I first started. So my biggest advice is always just to ask to be in the room. Like, all they can say is yes or no. Like, and I have people that DM me a lot. I try to respond. If I don't, sorry. But I try to, anybody that wants to get a coffee with me or be in the room with me when I'm shooting or assist me. I've had so many assistants over the years that have come to me that way by just sending me an email or seeing me at an event and asking. And all you can do is just ask and get in those spaces. And also, I started doing things in high school and college and thankfully had that platform. Like, we had a daily paper, we had a yearbook, we had an incredible media center. So I had the opportunity to do those things. But when I wasn't doing that, I was still shooting for myself. I was asking, I was like, can I come see this show and take photos? Or will you come take photos with me? Like, I was just constantly taking photos. I still do that. Like, if I get a little, like during COVID when the world was shut down, I was losing my mind because I didn't take a photo. And the first person I called was this lady right here. I was like, hey, sis, you want to get on the phone and or on the computer and take pictures? And you're like, yeah, sure, why not? So I just think asking constantly, and that's how I got that internship too. Like, I applied for it because it was a job that was, that had a posting, but I didn't hear back for like weeks. And I was like, no, this is my job. I emailed, I called, I left voice message. I basically stalked Paul Wontori for several weeks. And I was like, hi, it's me again. And he came back and said, I'm sorry, I was on vacation. But because I was just so persistent, and I think persistence can be, it can be good and it can be a little annoying to some, but honestly, just ask constantly. Yeah. Get in the rooms that you want to be in, and in whatever way you can. I mean, in a legal way, but you know what I mean. It's okay. My last interview, I said my advice was to quit, so I just take that back.
Jenny.
No, it's out of context. No, I've had a few moments in my career, like before Broadway.com with Circle Line and with Broadway.com, were both moments where you can't do this thing anymore. And I was like, well, I'm gone now. Because if I can't, like when I was at Circle Line, they weren't going to let me have the day off to shoot at Broadway.com. I was like, well, I quit because I'm here to be at Broadway.com. Yeah. And when Broadway.com got to a clear stopping point of like, I think I've outgrown this position, I'm going to quit now and move on.
You know what? I'm going to challenge your phrasing.
Okay.
I don't think you quit. I think you walked away.
Sure.
Because you had gained all the lessons you needed, and it had gained everything it needed to gain from you, too.
That's a better way to say it.
That sounded like a peaceful walk away to me. Just saying.
Leave it to Ari to actually make it mindful.
Like,
and I'm like,
no.
Quit. She's like, no.
It's like you are loving from afar and we are walking away. Thank you so much. That's how that is. Okay, you mentioned this a little bit already, but this is one of our first audience questions. Jenny, I really loved the digital Zoom photo series you did during the pandemic. 5 years later, what's a favorite memory from that project?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. I did 150 of those. Can you believe that?
I can.
What a crazy lady.
We were at home.
I know, that's true. You're right. It was a year and a half and I didn't have a job.
Home.
What is my favorite memory? You know what? It's I hope this isn't a cop-out answer, but connecting with all of them, like I can't really pull one away. They did not have to get on a Zoom with me and show me their home and their family and let me into, again, these spaces that are very intimate and personal. And like I did a Zoom with Sutton Foster and she was making cake with her daughter. And I did, the one Ari and I did, she danced. She just as herself in a t-shirt, just kind of did. And couples that were quarantining together and families, they just let me into these very intimate and in that moment, scary places because nobody knew what was going on or what was going to be. And so that's really my favorite, is that they opened that door for me, which was just such an honor. Maybe book 2.
Book 2. I mean, hey, why not? And just like a look back.
That's what people want.
See what
a book
you
about
get.
COVID.
Well, Okay, next question.
question.
What is... God, you're really funny.
I keep forgetting an audience is here. It's just you and me, and I'm just
I know. What is your personal favorite show and why? And how does that differ from your favorite show that you have shot?
Oh my gosh, my personal favorite show. Gosh, I grew up on like Les Mis and those shows. But being here in the city for the last 18 years, the first one that like ignited this thing in me where I was like, holy crap, I get to see these things begin was In the Heights, honestly. I know. It was and I moved to New York in 2008 or 2007. The first time I ever came to New York was the spring of 2007. So I'd never been here. I'd only been here twice. And that first time I came with my mom and we saw all the shows. And the very first show I saw was Wicked. I mean, that was it. I was, high school and college. Adina was like queen of all queens.
She's still queen of all queens.
Still a queen of all queens. And now I'm like, on that show and taking pictures, which is truly insane. Like I'm still like, it's her. We're in the same space. But same with Sutton Foster and Kelly O'Hara, like these women that I but watched before I got here, and now that I get to be in the same space with them and take their photos is wild. One of my other favorite shows that I've ever worked on and also seen was Peter and the Starcatcher. That first, seeing that show kind of changed the world, and that's where I met Celia and began that relationship. And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Hair, which also just changed my career, like the trajectory. I think that was the first show that I shot. It was kind of like my show when I was at Broadway.com. They were like, we have another Hair event, send Jenny. And there was a joke at the theater. They're like, we're going to get you a cot to stay backstage because you're here constantly. Like I went to DC with them. And so I love that show and I loved that cast. And it was just
the photo in the book, the rehearsal photo with...
That photo, gosh, I can't talk about it without losing it, but, and sweet, lovely, wonderful Caissie is here, but that photo, Caissie and Gavin and Will, it was their early rehearsal days for the Broadway run. They had already done it in the park, and they were in this downtown theater near 14th Street, and Molly, my publicist, crazy to say that I have a publicist, my friends and publicist, Molly was also there that day because that was her show. And I walked in and they were already rehearsing on stage and they were in this moment in this photo and they were holding each other tightly and looking at each other and they were just so young and beautiful and bright and had this future in front of them. And I feel like I'm complimenting myself aggressively, but I feel like I did capture that in that photo. But it was there. It was there on the stage, and I got it in that moment. And that photo, I feel like, really defines me as a photographer and me in this community because Caissie and Gavin from that day have been with me these last 18 years. So
it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, my friend.
Thanks.
We are all so, so proud of you. Please give it up for Jenny Anderson and the In-Between. You smart, smarts queen. I feel like
oh boy.
We've got a little more fun in store.
You're just gonna now sit here and watch me
for
cry
you.
For the next.
So we're gonna shift you. Come on, shift a little more.
This is beautiful.
Now, this is the part where I turn into a host, and much like the writerless Tonys, I'm not quite sure who's coming out first.
Oh my God.
So please welcome Caissie Levy! Sure is coming out.
This is Miss Jody Moore on the piano. Well, just building on that photograph and that beautiful story that you shared. And it's actually Gavin's birthday tomorrow, and I feel like there would be no one prouder of you than him, except for the rest of us. And We're going to sing this in his honor, in your honor, to capture the joy we felt at that time and how your legacy began then and is only continuing to ascend. Good morning, starshine. The earth says hello. You twinkle above us. We twinkle below. Good morning, starshine. You lead us along, my love and me, as we sing our early morning singing song. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter or derisions, golden living dreams of visions, mystic crystal revelation, and the mind's true liberation. Aquarius.
Well, this one needs no introduction.
Jenny Anderson. I can't remember when we actually first met, but our special moment is the day after I won the Tony. And it's about Jenny. And you were talking about the care and compassion that she gives to her subjects. Thank you, loyal subjects. And we went to the White House the next day, and it was such a casual but special day, and we shared some very special moments where I'm just running around the White House holding a Tony, and Jenny and I were like, I guess we'll take a picture over here. I guess we'll put it by the flowers and do it over here. And it was just like such a beautiful moment, and that day has bonded us forever. I'm grateful for your love, for your care, for your concern, and you really do capture beauty and grace with beauty and grace.
Woo. Thank you.
And this little ditty's for you. When the rain is blowing in your face make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there's no one there to dry your tears, I can hold you for 1,000,000 years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I would never do you wrong. I know that from the moment that we met, no doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, I'd go crawling down the avenue. Jenny, there's nothing I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. The storms are raging on the rolling sea and on the highway of regret. The winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. There's nothing I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of the world for you. Jenny, there's nothing I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. To make you feel my love.
Lord.
And last but certainly not least, the great Sara Bareilles.
I didn't either. I don't know what any of you are doing. Feels like this is the end of my career. I'm done.
We're all sitting in the back crying. I just am really moved by the conversation and mostly just this sense of the thing that Jenny gifts her subjects and why we all were an immediate yes to be a part of any way we can to support this incredible moment in your life and the celebration of your work is connection. And I just feel like in this time, you know, writ large, we're just fraying, you know, in so many ways. And so when we find people who bring us closer to ourselves and closer to each other, those are the things we really want to hold tight to. So I just really celebrate what you give to the community and how much you bring us together and closer to ourselves. And this song, I've never played it before, so we're gonna see how this goes. Actually, no, I've played it quite a few times. But this song was my introduction to what has become a torrid love affair with the Broadway community. And that's how I met Jenny, was working on Waitress. So this was the first song I wrote for that. But I'm gonna do it up-tempo. Just kidding, I'm not gonna do it up-tempo. It's not simple to say. It's just, I'm just gonna do it normal, you guys. most days I don't recognize me. These shoes and this apron, that place and its patrons have taken more than I gave them. It's not easy to know I'm not anything like I used to be, although it's true I was never attention's sweet center. I still remember that girl. She's imperfect, but she tries. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken and won't ask for help. She is messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She is all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She is gone, but she used to be mine. It's not what I asked for. Sometimes life just slips in through a back door and carves out a person, makes you believe it's so true. And now I've got you. You're not what I asked for. If I'm honest, I know I would give it all back for a chance to start over, rewrite an ending or two for the girl that I knew, be reckless just enough. Gets hurt, but who learns how to toughen up when she's bruised and gets used by a man who can't love? And then she'll get stuck and be scared of the life that's inside her, growing stronger each day till it finally reminds her to fight just a little, to bring back the fire in her eyes that's been gone but used to be mine. Used to be mine. She's messy, but she's kind. She is lonely most of the time. She's all of this mixed up and baked in a beautiful pie. She's gone, but she used to be
Woo, Sara Bareilles, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. Give it up for all our performers. And Jenny Anderson. Jenny Anderson.
Oh my God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
We love you. I was like, is anyone else coming out as a surprise? I don't know. We love you. We love you. Go get your book if you haven't already. Thank you so much, and good night.